Aloha, beautiful souls. I hope you are having an incredible, amazing, wonderful week. And as we talked about last week, creating the ecstasy of life through those little moments. This week I wanted to talk about relationship reciprocity. And I know that we've touched on it a little bit in other conversations, but this one I wanted to talk about more the intentionality of relationships and how you show up and how you create that, and how relationship reciprocity really creates this incredible abundance in our life. But we have to go about it a certain way. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean perfection. I don't mean a certain spiritual path. I'm talking about getting to the core of humanity, the core of connection, the core of relating, right? The core of connecting to one another. It's a very powerful thing, and yet so much of society is built around disconnection. Right? So really building those relationships. And how do we do that? I think that for us to realize how we build our relationships, how we show up in our relationships, we have to think about our values and what is important to us. Do we value relationships via our interests, right? Do we want to go have the same activities, right? And if that's the case, that can be a beautiful thing, but it's not the depth of connection, right? Because the depth of connection is the core of me getting to know the core of you. And appreciating being able to witness who you are at your core. It's a very different conversation, right? And this requires us to have a level of self-awareness. So I'm going to flip this, right? We're going to flip this on its head. Because there is an old alchemic, I guess you could say saying or wisdom, and it's used often as a quote: as within, so without. As within, so without. So what this is implying is that in order for us to create outside of us, we have to first create inside of us. Now, how does that affect relationships or relationship reciprocity and building that deep connection? One of the biggest things in deep connection is awareness, right? Because in order for us to deeply know another person, we have to be deeply aware of what is happening on the whole for them. We have to see it with our eyes. We have to hear, listen with both ears what they are speaking to us, without thinking about all the little things of how we're going to respond or fix the solution. We have to listen with the heartstring in the ears. Listen to the emotion, listen to the tone of voice, listen to every bit and every piece that's coming out of the other person's mouth, right? And we have to sense them. We have to sense what's going on for them. And this requires a great deal of concentration and awareness of them. But therein lies a key. How can we be truly aware of another person if we are not truly aware of ourselves? if we cannot sit there in a moment and see what's going on for us, listen to our heart, listen to our mind, listen to what our subconscious is telling us, listen to that inner voice. Is it telling us positive things? Is it telling us negative things? What is actually happening? We have to sense ourselves. We not only have to sense our emotions, we have to sense where our emotions are, what the sensation of our emotions are, how those emotions are creating possibly a reaction rather than a response, right? Because all of that awareness in ourselves allows us to either pull back from being reactive or not. It allows us to respond intentionally or not. It allows us to see the beauty in ourselves or not. And whatever level we see ourselves and are aware of ourselves is the level that we will be aware and see others. One of the core truths of relationships on every level, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's a lover, whether it's a neighbor down the street, is that all of these relationships will profoundly mirror the level of awareness that you have for yourself. Because if you are aware of yourself and your flaws, and you give yourself love and compassion and kindness to heal those, you will show up in that exact same way for other people. And if you show up in judgment of yourself, right? I wasn't as consistent as this, or I didn't do this as well as I think I should have. Should. Very dangerous word. It's a whole nother video. However you judge yourself so harshly, you will judge others. And be very careful when you're looking at your relationships and where they're currently at. Understand that a great deal of these relationships, and for clarification, for those of you who are out there with narcissistic people in your life, extremely toxic people in your life, they are not a mirror exactly. They are, but they are not, right? So they're a whole nother extreme. And be very careful. Because if you have narcissists and toxic people in your life, it's a mirror of how you feel about your self-worth. Very important to understand. It's a mirror, but it's a different type of mirror. But take a moment and reflect on all the relationships in your life and where they're at, right? Do you have people that you just play with, that you're just doing activities with? Do you have people that you do deep discussion work, self-care work? Do you have people that go deep on the intentional creation of relationship? Intentionally taking care of each other's hearts, minds, and souls. What's happening in your relationships? What is being reflected back to you? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you want to change? What do you want to keep? Write it down. Write it down, because this will help you intentionally create yourself, right? The universe always mirrors back to us what is in our heart and mind, So it's very important to write down what is happening, right? And self-awareness is really the foundation of creating love, creating that unconditional love, creating boundaried love. Because first you have to have boundaries with yourself, right? First you have to have unconditional love for yourself. And what are some other things? Compassion, forgiveness. We all mess up. We all make mistakes, right? We are not perfect by any means. We all need that compassion. And we live in a society that is based, the language itself is based in judgment, let alone the mindsets of people. Because remember, language is programming. So because we live in a society with language of judgment, most of us have a great deal of judgment towards ourselves and others. Creating that compassion takes intentionality. And we cannot be intentional about things that we are not aware of. Awareness is the first step, and awareness can be one of the most painful steps. Because in order to become truly aware, we have to be aware and acknowledge all of our dark parts, all of our shadows, the traumas we've been through, what other people have done, what we've done, the way we've reacted, the way we haven't shown up the way we would have liked, the days we were possibly a bitch. It happens. The ways we were an asshole. It happens. Whatever we do not become aware of and acknowledge and bring light into and compassion and forgiveness towards will continue to be an operating force somewhere in our mind and our heart. And it will affect our relationships, and it will affect every area of our life. So if we want to create that relationship reciprocity that is so beautiful and so much deeper in life, where we truly take care of each other's hearts. Now, this is a very, very deep subject. I'm working to make it a shorter video, but I really want this to be understood. That when two people, no matter what type of relationship, okay? I am not making any particular comment on a particular type of relationship dynamic. It can be any type of relationship. When two people truly witness and see each other's hearts, their inner child, their shadows, and they learn to take care of each other, these are the deepest, most beautiful, most intense relationships you will ever have in your life. And these are extraordinary. Make no doubt, these will change your life on every level. But to get to that, you have to become self-aware. It's the only way. And a lot of people have never experienced those types of relationships. They've experienced feelings, they've experienced actions, they've experienced having some sort of reciprocity. But it's different. It's different when you sit there and you watch somebody's pain, and their pain becomes important to you, and their celebrations become important to you. Don't get those mixed up. Because a lot of people mistake trauma bonding for deep relationship. and it is not the same thing. Trauma bonding can be healing in its own right because you're allowing an acknowledgement of your own pain to exist, right? That's why trauma bonding exists, is because we have not witnessed our own pain. And somebody else who has a similar pain is now witnessing it and acknowledging it. It's coming to the surface. There's light being brought upon it. That's why trauma bonding exists and can be so powerful. It's not often a good thing, but that's why we gravitate often to it, is because our pain wants that acknowledgement. That acknowledgement that we've had that experience, that we've experienced that pain, that we are human. And acknowledging another person's pain is very powerful, right? It will heal in ways you have never understood was possible. But you can't just have that side of the picture. You also have to have the celebrations, the wins, intentionally creating them. So what this would look like is, in your relationships, do your people sit there and ask you, how can I support you? Where are you going? Right? Because we can't celebrate the wins and we can't intentionally create them if we have no idea what direction we're heading. Again, self-awareness, self-creation. There's a whole other world to this. Because when you become truly self-aware, oh boy, a whole other way of creating who you are becomes available. And it's powerful. You are no longer limited to, my family did this, so that's why I'm this way. Or I was born this way, so that's the way I am. None of those limits truly exist. When you become extremely self-aware, or extraordinarily self-aware, you become very aware of all the ways in which you can purposely create yourself. Now you have direction. And the thing that you really want to look for in the people in your life is for them to ask you, where are you going? How can I support you? And then there's back and forth of, oh, you need this? Okay, I can do this, that, and the other thing. I can't do that over there. This is how I can support you there. And it becomes this beautiful thing. And then you ask them the same question. Where are you going? How can I support you? You need this, that, and the other thing? Okay, these are the places that I can show up for you. And it becomes this beautiful net of intertwined sharing and growing and creating. It's like intentionally weaving life with the people that surround you. And when you do this, when you become this self-aware and you become this intentional in how you create yourself, and you work with other people who are also self-aware and are also creating themselves, and you work together to create life, you weave this beautiful existence together. And the only way to go is up. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not challenges in life, or that you won't have dark moments. But it does mean that you will have an appreciation for life that you never knew existed. You will have an ecstasy for life that you never knew existed. And you will have a support system that no matter what, will lift you up to heights you didn't know existed. I hope this helped, and I hope that you have an amazing, wonderful time truly seeing yourself, truly seeing the beautiful, unique, incredible human that you are, and how intentional you can be with your life. Aloha.